It started with a rumble that shook the mountain like the growl of a wounded beast. The rain had fallen for days, carving rivers into the earth, softening the cliffs until gravity could no longer hold them. Daniel, a single father with calloused hands and tired eyes, was returning from the valley market with a sack of rice slung over his shoulder. His little daughter, Emma, skipped beside him, humming a tune. Neither of them knew that within moments, fate would collide with destiny in the most unexpected way. And then the mountainside gave way. Boulders tumbled, trees snapped, a wall of mud and rock swallowed the road ahead. And beneath the chaos, a scream. A woman's voice, sharp with fear, muffled beneath the crushing weight of the earth. Daniel didn't hesitate. He shoved Emma behind the thick roots of a fallen tree. "Stay there, sweetheart. Don't move." His eyes locked on hers, steady, fierce, a father's silent promise. Then he turned and ran straight toward the landslide. The woman's cries grew weaker under the roar of shifting debris. Daniel clawed at the mud with his bare hands, tearing his skin as he dug deeper. His nails filled with earth, his breath ragged, but he didn't stop. He pulled away branches, rocks, anything in his path until finally his fingers brushed against fabric, a hand, cold, trembling. "Still alive! Hold on!
I've got you!"
Daniel shouted over the chaos. With one final heave, he dragged her out of the earth's grip. She gasped, coughing, her face streaked with mud but her eyes blazing with life. She was dressed not like the villagers, but in a sleek, ruined souk, an outsider far from home. Her leg was trapped beneath a fallen beam. Daniel used a wooden branch as leverage, muscles straining until at last she was free. He lifted her in his arms, carrying her through the rain, mud soaking his clothes, heart pounding against hers. When they reached Emma, the little girl's eyes widened. "Papa, is she okay?" Daniel looked down at the woman. Her lips were pale, her breath shallow. But she whispered, "You saved me." He didn't know it then, but those 3 words would unravel a secret that had been chasing him for years. Her name was Isabella Hartman, the CEO of one of the most powerful corporations in the city. But in that moment, stripped of her power, broken and vulnerable, she was just a woman clinging to life in the arms of a stranger. Daniel carried her to his modest cabin, a place of warmth built from wood and love. There, by the fire, Emma brought water in a chipped cup, her small hands shaking. Isabella's eyes softened as she looked at the child. "You're safe here," Daniel assured her. "We'll take care of you until the rescue teams arrive." But rescue never came that night. Roads were blocked, phones dead. The storm kept them trapped together. Isabella, used to skyscrapers and polished boardrooms, now lay wrapped in an old quilt, staring at a roof patched with tin. She watched Daniel tend the fire, Emma curl against his side, and something inside her cracked. She saw the love of a man who had nothing but gave everything. As hours stretched into dawn, Isabella whispered, "Do you even know who I am?" Daniel shrugged. "A woman who needed help. That's all I needed to know." She blinked. No one had ever said that to her. Not when her name was on magazine covers, not when investors bowed at her word. But this man, this single father, saw her not as a CEO, not as a symbol, but as a soul. 2 days later, when the roads finally cleared and helicopters came, Isabella left with a heavy heart. She looked back at the cabin as Emma waved, her tiny hand clutching a teddy bear. Isabella promised herself she wouldn't forget them, and she didn't. For weeks, she couldn't erase Daniel from her mind. The man who risked his life without knowing her wealth, the father who raised his daughter with quiet dignity. She sent investigators, searching for his name, his story. When they brought her files, she was stunned. Daniel wasn't just any man. Years ago, before tragedy struck, he had been an engineer for her company. Brilliant, respected, until an accident took his wife's life and he walked away from everything to raise his daughter alone. He had vanished into the mountains, away from a world that judged him, away from the weight of a life that had broken him. Isabella realized something with a pang of destiny. She had been searching for someone like him all along, someone real, someone good, and fate had quite literally thrown them together in the storm. She returned to that cabin, not in a helicopter, not with bodyguards, but alone. Daniel opened the door, surprised, his brow furrowed. Emma squealed with delight. "Why are you here?" he asked, guarded. "Because you saved me," Isabella replied softly. "And now, I want to save you." She offered him a position, not just any job, but a chance to reclaim the brilliance he had once given up, to rebuild the life he had lost. But more than that, she wanted something deeper. She wanted him by her side, Daniel hesitated, torn between the simplicity of his quiet life and the storm of possibility Isabella brought. But when Emma tugged on his sleeve, her eyes bright, whispering, "Papa, she makes you smile," he knew the truth. The landslide had buried more than just a road. It had uncovered a path to a new beginning. Months later, Daniel stood in the city, Emma's hand in one of his, Isabella's in the other. No longer a man lost in grief, no longer a CEO lost in loneliness. Two souls who had found each other in the wreckage of a mountain, rebuilt not by wealth or power, but by kindness and courage. And as the sun set over the skyline, Isabella whispered to Daniel, "You didn't just save my life. You gave me a reason to live again." And Daniel, with tears glistening in his eyes, replied, "So did you." Because sometimes the most powerful rescues aren't from disasters of earth or sky, but from the silence of loneliness, the ruins of heartbreak, and the shadows of the past.